I hope it's going to be Judge's year of a great Australian cricket side, but perhaps it won't be. It might be known as the bribe and match fixing years.
When Hansi Cronje was forced to confess he'd been on the take from the match-fixing bookies, cricket lovers were stunned.
I do like money. I'm not trying to get away from that.
Is there more to come out before this is over?
I think pretty obviously the answer to that is yes.
I mean, we're just scratching at the surface. Obviously, there's a lot more involvement of other players in it.
Tonight on Four Corners, the sorry story of how the corruption of cricket has been rampant for a decade, while those who are responsible for policing the game did nothing but cover it up.
We should have acted sooner, we should have acted with greater alacrity, and we should have done it better. We didn't.
We travel from a bookie's den in Pakistan to the International Cricket Council in London to find out who's been fixing the games and who should be fixing cricket. It's the morning of the final of the Asia Cup in Dakar, to be played between Sri Lanka and Pakistan. Already the fans are hovering outside the hotel, hoping for a glimpse of their favourite players. Right across the Indian subcontinent, cricketing heroes are bigger than movie stars.
Yeah, well, they're fanatical over there. I mean, there's 1 billion people and sport is almost like a religion, and they've got their heroes and they live, I guess, their life through their cricket. I mean, a lot of people are living in poverty there, and that is one escape from them. So it's much more than a sport over there. It's like a way of life.
But the crowds are down in numbers and the television audience has dropped. In the days and weeks preceding the tournament here, top players in India, Pakistan and South Africa have all been named as match fixers. 3 of the cricketers who are on the bus today have been accused by their teammates of being involved. While the players and officials have known for years that corruption has been rife, the fans have been played for mugs.
And that's why they're feeling cheated. And they're saying, hang on, we showered love on our cricketers and we showered affection and we gave everything we had to them. We stopped going to work, we didn't do exams maybe, and we all stood up and watched television. And well, we made a fool of.
Come on, boys!
The most serious allegations of corruption in modern cricket history have centred on the Pakistan team. Rumours of match-fixing started 20 years ago when Asif Iqbal was captain of the team. He was accused back then of betting on and then faking the outcome of the toss. There were no bookies to be seen hanging around at this year's Asia Cup final. The word was they're now lying low. But they've been a well-known feature, especially at one-day games, for the past 10 years.
Wherever one-day cricket is being played, something is going on.
One-day cricket is important?
One-day cricket is important simply because more bets are placed in one-day cricket. And it's easy to manipulate.
The Pakistanis pray together before the final starts and swear to play their best. Past captains have adopted some unique strategies over the years to stop the bookies seducing the players into throwing a match, including making the team bet on themselves to win.
It was in '89. It was a final in Dubai, and it was between Australia and Pakistan. And just one player called me up in the middle of the night and said, "Look, 4 of your players have sold out to the bookies." So next day, just told the team that, "Look, this is what I've heard. I'll be watching everyone play very carefully. And if I think someone is underperforming, there'll be strong action." Plus, I said we should put all our money, which we had won so far, on ourselves at even odds, at either double or nothing.
Pakistan won the toss and elected to bat first. We were told it was a sign of their confidence that they are the better team.
41 required of 32. Got him, bowled.
They are aware now that the world is watching them, looking for suspicious runouts, easy catches dropped, even just underperforming on the day. Because just 2 weeks before this game, Justice Qayyum's report into match fixing was finally released. The judge recommended fines for 8 players who represented Pakistan in their national team. Harsha Bogle was up in the commentary box.
It would have been at the back of their minds, very much, certainly for the senior players, because they wouldn't want to be seen to be throwing away their wickets. Even a normal dismissal would make them look culpable.
Justice Malik Muhammad Qayyum's inquiry into match fixing was held in the High Court of Lahore in 1998. Previous inquiries have been regarded as token or a whitewash. Justice Qayyum heard from over 50 players and officials.
Then there were some tapes by...
The judge explained to us that while he had enough evidence to recommend banning 2 players for life, where the evidence was not sufficient, he recommended fines. It was touch and go for cricket superstar Wasim Akram. He was fined $12,000 and the judge recommended that he be banned from ever captaining the side again.
All of them were saying that he is involved. And then I had to ask myself, if everybody is saying so, then why they should not be believed?
Why do you think those players made those allegations, your own teammates?
The culture we come from, you guys won't understand. There's a lot of jealousy factor there. And people, it's not just, it's a different groups got together from different angles just to finish one cricketer's or one sportsman career. That's what exactly happened with me, as far as myself concerned. People like supposedly Amir Sohail, who spoke against me.
It's up in the air. And away goes Amir Sohail.
Amir Sohail was one of Wasim Akram's teammates who accused him variously of deliberately bowling badly, feigning illness and paying teammates to underperform.
If he says that we were jealous of his ability, then he was wrong. It's nothing personal. It's just something which was bad, and we thought it shouldn't be done. We spoke about it. It wasn't personal.
He seems so cool and confident now when we saw him in Dhaka, as if he were untouchable.
Well, the thing is, if you keep on getting away with so many things, that you are untouchable, aren't you?
We put the accusations made direct to Wasim Akram. Have you ever tried to induce a player to perform badly?
Never.
Ever deliberately bowled no balls or wides?
No, and I used to bowl a lot of no balls a couple of years ago. Generally, I had a problem with no balls, otherwise no.
Ever feigned illness to avoid a match?
No, I would never do such a thing.
Always
played under illness, and I've been diabetic and still playing at the level, and never complained about any, never came out of the game.
And ever underperformed for money?
No, never did.
That's the full list?
That is the full list. Thank you.
The players who were banned for life were former fast bowler Atul Rehman and the now notorious former Pakistani captain Salim Malik.
And he's gone. He's gone.
Salim Malik is seen here offering to fix the Asia Cup match that we saw for the modest sum of £100,000. This tape was secretly recorded 3 months ago by the British scandal sheet News of the World. Their reporter posed as a businessman looking for easy money. Salim Malik explains that you only need 5 or 6 players to be in on the scam. Salim Malik still denies that he's a match fixer. One of the things that makes it difficult when you deny that you've had involvement personally in match fixing are the News of the World tapes, because we see you there on television saying, it will be very easy for me to fix a match. The players will agree. We've all sat together and done it before. We've seen you say that.
I didn't say anything.
But there's film. Is it you on the film?
No.
It's not you?
ये इन्होंने बनाई है film. They made that film.
But it's what, an actor, not you, or?
I don't know who's there.
It looks like you.
It looks like me, but it's not me.
It sounds like you.
They can. It's a computer's. ये कंप्यूटर का ज़माना है, कुछ भी कर सकते हैं वो.
It was the former vice-captain of the Pakistan team, wicketkeeper Rashid Latif, who first blew the whistle on his captain Salim Malik back in 1994. He deserves the credit for forcing the match-fixing issue into the public domain and was rewarded by being dropped from the team. Rashid Latif now runs a free cricket clinic for talented youngsters who can't afford to pay for coaching.
He is the most important person in Pakistan to bring this matter to the public. So he was removed, and ever since he's been out of the team.
And that's because, in your view, he blew the whistle on match fixing?
Yes.
Rashid Latif told the story of how in 1994 he was offered $25,000 by Salim Malik to help lose the 5th one-day match against New Zealand, to be played in Christchurch the following day. He refused to be involved. The next morning, after he took 2 catches, his captain Salim Malik came over to the stumps to reprimand him.
Next day I hold 2 catches of bowling of Waqar Yunus. In between the innings, Salim Malik came for me and said, you drop some catches.
Well, he's telling you don't catch them, drop them.
Yeah.
I won the toss.
We'll bowl.
You're going to bowl, eh?
Yeah.
All right, Mark. Coin back.
I think.
It was in October of the same year, 1994, when Australia toured Pakistan, that Salim Malik offered Shane Warne $200,000 for him and Tim May to bowl badly on the last day of the first test in Karachi. 3 weeks later, Malik sought out Mark Waugh to see if he'd organise 4 or 5 Australians to throw the upcoming one-day match in Rawalpindi. The players declined the offer, told the Australian Cricket Board, who told the International Cricket Council. But they all decided to keep the story from the public.
Cricket is very traditional, and very traditional in much preferring not to air its linen in public. It's always preferred to deal with matters behind closed doors, rightly or wrongly, but that is effectively the way the game has been administered over a long period of time.
The following facts, which only surfaced 4 weeks ago, shows just how keen the ICC was to keep the Salim Malik story a secret. It was written by the CEO, David Richards, to the Pakistan Cricket Board on the 13th of February 1995. He urges the Pakistanis to be discreet, always bearing in mind the damage to the image of cricket if allegations were made public in any way. The fact, he goes on to say, that no story had been written after the tour gave credence to this chosen course of action. As of 4 weeks ago, Malcolm Gray is David Richards' new boss.
Well, obviously it's going to be bad for the game.
Yep.
All these allegations are shocking for the game. So you know, that's a pretty good call. But you know, we cannot keep anything quiet or under the table or under the hat. It's ridiculous. You people in the journalistic world are too good for us.
When Justice Qayyum was finally taking evidence against Salim Malik, Shane Warne provided a sworn affidavit. Mark Waugh and Mark Taylor gave evidence in person in Lahore. They swore to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, but chose not to mention Australia's own dirty little secret, that Shane Warne and Mark Waugh, the two main witnesses against Salim Malik, had themselves taken thousands of dollars from a bookie 1 month before Salim Malik approached them. The International Cricket Council knew, but also kept this information to itself. You would have known when Mark Waugh and Shane Warne were giving evidence to the Qayyum inquiry that their evidence would be very compromised by the fact that it would later be revealed that they themselves had taken money from bookies.
I don't think this is a line of questioning I particularly want to spend my time going into. It's historical.
The Waugh-Warne story was broken at the end of 1998. 4 years after they'd taken a total of $9,000 from a bookie named John, the players finally fronted up to the press and the public.
I was approached by a man who I later discovered to be a bookmaker from India. The Australian Cricket Board asked me if I had ever provided information to a bookmaker, and I replied that I had done so the previous year. He asked me
They said that all they'd given in return for the money was information about the weather, the pitch and team morale.
I realised that I was very naive and stupid. My actions were naive and stupid.
It later emerged that Mark Waugh dealt with the bookie on 10 separate occasions over a 5-month period from 5 different countries.
I really like both Shane Warne and Mark Waugh because I think they're great cricketers. But it's now, with hindsight, it makes no sense. Why would the bookies just give money to anyone, you know, for just giving pitch report? You know, and maybe they did. But that inquiry, the whole thing is now in doubt. Everyone, I mean, if I'm in doubt, surely the entire cricketing public is in doubt about the whole affair.
Look, I'm as confident as I can be. I mean, no one can be 100% certain. I can say as certain as I am that there's nothing involving Australian players in bribery or match fixing that will come out and see us in a bad light.
But you could be surprised?
Well, I mean, anyone can be surprised. I was surprised with Hansi Cronje.
Thank you.
But there was, of course, another question. Why had the Australian Cricket Board kept this quiet for so long?
Now, you knew that David Richards at the International Cricket Council had been told but kept it secret.
No, this is
I know
new.
that. When did you plan to tell the public?
That wasn't my duty. The line of responsibility through this was from the people who ran the Australian cricket team to the Australian Cricket Board.
At the time of the cover-up, Malcolm Gray was on the Australian Cricket Board. Did you support the decision?
That would be unfair on my colleagues. It's very easy for me to... No, I'm not... That's unfair of me. There was a majority decision taken to carry out the action that was carried out. It was wrong. There's no doubts about that. It was absolutely wrong and silly. But it's easy to say that in hindsight. That was the decision that was taken at the time in that environment. And that was some years ago. It's a different environment than it is today.
Do you think that compromises your statement of resolve that these things will be dealt with openly?
No, not at all. Damn it, that was a good question. No, certainly not at all.
And that was good thinking. I think Waugh picked that one. He pulled it.
It was before this match during the Singer Series in Colombo in 1994 that Waugh and Warne were paid the $9,000 by the Indian bookie John. While it's safe to say that most matches are not in fact fixed, every now and then a series comes up where it appears it's on for young and old.
Around that time, the bookies went wild and the players were involved in it.
Down the leg side and a wide. And again, wide.
Australia went on to win this game, which is hardly surprising, because a bookie named Salim Pervez told the Qayyum inquiry that he'd paid the Pakistanis, Salim Malik and Mushtaq Ahmed, $100,000 to lose it.
In the air again, and another wicket for Steve Waugh. That was probably one of the worst deliveries that Steve Waugh has bowled in this spell.
Steve Waugh says he could tell at the time that something was wrong.
I've played 30 years and I know when you know, things aren't quite right. I remember bowling in that game, taking 3 for 14, and I don't normally take 3 for 14 off 10 overs to start with, so that was a bit suspicious. But yeah, it was just the way that the opposition were playing. A couple of players in particular didn't appear to be playing as if they normally would.
So what did you do at the end of the match?
We celebrated we won.
No ball called there.
Wasim Akram was in the losing team. You didn't find it suspicious? He said the Pakistan team just collapsed in a way that everybody at the time felt was suspicious.
Pakistan team always collapse. Steve should know that. We always collapse. We always do. Excuse me. We always collapse, and this is the I think beauty of the Pakistan side. Either do really well, and either when they're doing well, they suddenly collapse. That's what that is part of the culture as well, generally.
But evidence was given, wasn't it, to the Qayyum report by a bookie, Salim Pervez, that he paid money for that game to be dropped?
But again, I think the commissions should, if somebody's giving information, the commissions should know the background of a person who's giving the information.
The person, Salim Pervez, was once a cricketer in Pakistan's national team back in 1981.
In a triangle series.
We tracked him down in the red light district of Lahore, where he told us, yes, he'd gone to Sri Lanka with a bag of money provided by a high-profile Pakistani businessman, the real match fixer. For legal reasons, we can't disclose his name.
I talked with players, with Mushtaq and Malik. They asked me, you stay here, I will deal with you after a few days when the match is beginning.
Right.
I stay there about 2 months.
Yes.
And they agree with me to fix the match.
They agree with you to fix the match? So what do you say to Salim Pervez?
सलीम परवेज़ के लिए मैं यही कहूँगा कि वो एक रेड लाइट एरिया है जहाँ वो रहता है. आप लोगों को मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूँगा कि आप लोग जाके उसकी जगह देखें कि वो कहाँ रहता है. क्या वो किसी को अप्रोच कर सकता है पैसों के लिए? वो बंदा है जो 2 साल जेल गुजार के आया है मर्डर केस में, और वो बंदा किसी को क्या पैसे देगा जो खुद उस खाना नहीं खा सकता.
It was no surprise when Salim Pervez didn't turn up for the interview we'd arranged for later. He's still involved in some shady stuff. But not far away from where we found him, a group of small-time bookies were running an illegal betting shop, one of the thousands that operate across the subcontinent during every single game. They were taking bets on a Pakistan-Sri Lanka match while the game was being played in Colombo. When the bets come in, they're recorded on the tape recorder, so there's no arguments later about the payouts. You can place a bet on anything from who wins the toss to who'll get the next 6, but the serious betting here is on the outcome of the game. And how much money would be passing through just like a room like this, on a match like this? How much money would be bet? The odds are fixed by a syndicate who run many shops like this, and as the game progresses and the odds change, they phone in to let these bookies know what rate they should be offering. The guns are there more to ward off rival syndicates rather than a shootout with the police. They are, after all, paying the police a cut of the take. The police know you're here and don't mind? These bookies claim they're not privy to the inside information about when a match is fixed.
But sometimes you must think that looks suspicious.
When we ask if they're afraid of the people who are behind this, we finally never get an answer. They'd prefer not to say.
The big bookmakers, the people who are behind all this, are they people that you fear?
Hello. Anji. 35 गज. वीजा क्या सब ले गया.
Once you start looking for who's behind the small-time frontline bookies, you're told to go to India, where the biggest of the criminal syndicates are based in Mumbai, more commonly known outside India by its old colonial name of Bombay.
It all originates in India because the bookies and the people who are approaching cricketers and umpires come from India.
And why is that?
I think the money in India is enormous.
Mumbai is the financial capital of India. It's where vast sums of money change hands in finance broking, film funding, real estate, and it's where the black economy is at its greatest. It's where the big criminal gangs that they also call the mafia run the drugs and the bookies and the cricket. With tens of millions of punters, the money involved is huge. The Radio Club is a popular haunt of the more affluent bookies, like Mr. Ram Dandekar. Do the bookies here pay a percentage of their profits to the mafia?
Not percentage. There's a fixed amount.
A fixed amount?
Fixed amount per match to the police and as a mafia.
Every cricket match, that's the way it works?
Every cricket match.
What sort of sum would that be?
About 2 lakhs of rupees per match.
And if they don't pay that money?
Then you face the problem. You get shot, you can get stabbed, you can get kidnapped, you can give extortion, all kind of things are there.
Mr. Dandekar can admit he's a bookie because horse racing is the one sport in India that it's legal to bet on. But he knows about cricket as well.
If people are saying, those who are responsible and sitting on particular positions, that they were not aware about that match fixing and that things are going wrong in the cricket, till Hansi Clodier's affair, they are hypocrites. This was brought to the police's knowledge in Bombay 25 years ago when India-Pakistan match was played in Calcutta, where even the toss was fixed.
The Bombay police have been a source for journalists covering the match-fixing story for years. They've known from phone taps who's been offering and who's been taking the money. But neither the Indian Cricket Board nor the government has seemed to want to know. 6 weeks ago, a journalist working for the website Tehelka secretly recorded this off-the-record briefing with the former Commissioner of Crime in Bombay, Rakesh Maria. He's telling the journalist when match-fixing here started in earnest.
According to the source, things started when Gavaskar was the captain. The system was well developed when Kapil Dev became the captain, and it peaked when Azharuddin became the captain. This is how he told it.
Rakesh Maria shows the journalist transcripts of phone taps from the mid-1990s.
It is there. It is match fixing. See, that time it was 20 to 25 lakhs per player.
That's around $90,000 a player. And as Rakesh Maria explains, the players then use the money that they're paid to lose to bet on the other team to win.
So you have incidents of the players also betting on the matches they were involved in. Something along those lines.
There had been stories that the Mumbai police were in possession of tapes as far back as 1995. And the general impression was that maybe they were not authorized to carry out the investigations. And so though they had the tapes, they were not releasing them. And I remember writing about it as back as 97, when it sort of started to gain momentum, all this, saying that, look, if they have the tapes, why don't they come out with them?
Rakesh Maria went on to name 4 Indian cricketers as being involved at the time of the Titan Cup. The cricketers named have all denied that they've ever been involved. Azharuddin, Jadeja and Mongia are still in the national team.
Mongia's gone.
When did you get a sense that matches were being fixed?
Well, I got the sense that the matches were getting fixed was only about 6 months ago. This is a small colony here.
6 months ago, the government announced a tax amnesty scheme, promising people that they could declare their ill-gotten gains without fear of penalty or disclosure. Several cricketers chose to declare huge sums of money that they'd earned on the black. As a senior income tax commissioner, Mr. Vishwa Gupta was privy to that information.
We have a very leading cricket player. I don't want to name him because it will violate my official this thing. We became aware that he could be in possession of something like 200 crores of wealth, which in normal terms would mean $50 million. And we were very clear that he had no access to such income officially or through sources like advertising or money that you get paid. And then we started getting this feeling that all this money had actually accrued through fixing matches. We still don't have a conclusive evidence on that.
And was he the only?
No.
Cricketing?
Then the names are floating. We suspected. You see.
How many Indian cricket players did you suspect
we
through your work?
suspect about 5 of them.
It has since emerged that Mr. Gupta's $50 million man is Mohammad Azharuddin. As a lover of cricket, Vishwa Gupta is a disappointed man.
And what about the names, the particular names that you came across? I mean, former cricketing captains, was that a disillusionment for you?
Yeah, great disillusionment. Some of the names like, which are still there, Jadeja, for instance, or, Azharuddin and, Kapil Dev even, and sometimes they even say it all started during Gavaskar's time.
They say it started during Gavaskar's time?
Yeah, we have some reports that his wife used to go to casinos in Nepal to gamble. And we have reports in from Kathmandu on that.
When the Board of Control of Cricket in India, the Indian cricket officials, assure the International Cricket Council that they will do something about match fixing and corruption in cricket in India, do you think they will?
Never. I think they are as corrupt and as criminal as those who are involved in match fixing. I am firmly of the view that no match fixing can take place without the connivance of the board officials. They're quite aware.
For the richest cricket board in the world, the Board of Control for Cricket in India has modest accommodation in the centre of Mumbai. The amount of money generated by cricket in India is simply staggering. Just the rights to televise cricket to this cricket-mad country with a population of over 1 billion people runs into the hundreds of millions of dollars. The last thing they need is for the game and their stars to be tainted. When the Cricket Board was forced to hold its match-fixing inquiry in 1997, it gave the game and its players and officials a clean bill of health. It was a green light for match fixers to go for broke.
I think the problem arose because the Board of Control for Cricket in India actually set up a commission of inquiry, which was very amateurish and very embarrassing to us as Indians. I remember reading that report and saying, the whole world's going to read this. And as an Indian, I'm ashamed of reading that report because it was factually incorrect, and it was supposed to have been signed by a Chief Justice of the Indian Supreme Court. And we'd like to believe that the Chief Justice of the Indian Supreme Court would do a better job than that.
India's report was completed in 1997 and it was sent to the International Cricket Council's Code of Conduct Committee. Lord Griffiths, Sir Oliver Popplewell and Justice Albie Sachs. They finally got round to reading it 2 years later and thought it was fine.
The Code of Conduct Committee, of course, looked at India's report into corruption and declared that that was a good report. You know, it said that it interviewed every possible witness and it gave it the thumbs up in terms of a good report into corruption in cricket. Everybody you speak to in India says that report is a whitewash.
I suspect your language is a bit extravagant there about thumbs up and gave it the
oh, well, I've got it here, yeah.
Yeah, well, you got what here?
The report.
Lord Griffiths says we give this the thumbs up.
We can see no grounds upon which his conclusion could be challenged. We are satisfied that the Chief Justice saw and heard every witness he could reasonably expect to contribute to his inquiry. They didn't call the police commissioner in Bombay.
So Lizzie didn't say thumbs up. All I was commenting on was your language. It was a bit extravagant. They reviewed the Indian report and decided that no, that they didn't wish to take it any further. Now you've got to look at the timing of all that.
What does that tell you about the weakness of the process?
You've got to look at the timing of all that. Nobody understood the depth and breadth of the problem until recent months.
The Indian authorities have now briefed their Central Bureau of Investigation to sort out the corruption in cricket. 5 days ago, tax officials raided the homes of cricketers Azharuddin, Mongia, Prabhakar, Jadeja, Chopra and cricket icon Kapil Dev.
They met me this morning and they said that they would like to have some more clarification.
They also searched the home of former Indian cricket official and outgoing president of the ICC, Jagaman Dalmia. But Mr Gupta has learned to be sceptical about what will be achieved.
I have my serious doubts, to be very frank with you, because the reason for that is that the criminal mafia that runs match fixing and betting is also involved in other criminal activities in India. Not that everybody who is in cricket betting is also involved in, but large overlap. These are by and large the same people who are involved in narcotics trafficking, which is a very big industry in India, far bigger than the cricket.
Are they too big for the government to take on?
Past experience shows that all these people have gotten away. I mean, I can't predict the future.
2 weeks ago, Vishwa Gupta was suspended for breaching his public service obligations not to disclose information he gained from his job. Meanwhile, over in London, it's summer and the cricket season is underway. Some Australian players have taken contracts with English county teams. They're playing here at Lord's, the traditional home of cricket. Behind the Lord's scoreboard is the clock tower, the headquarters of cricket's governing body, the International Cricket Council. 4 weeks ago, the ICC held its annual general meeting. Here, the delegates from the cricket-playing countries around the world are about to discuss how the money generated by the game should be split. The ICC has just signed a TV rights deal worth a cool $1 billion Australian.
If the game becomes tainted and the big names become tainted, less money will flow in. The sponsors will withdraw their sponsorship from cricket. So perhaps that was one of the potent reasons for not looking into this matter.
That's why they swept it under the carpet.
I'm sure about it.
Part of the problem for the ICC has been that no one country has wanted their match-fixing problems exposed, and every country gets a vote on what should be done. As a result, the ICC appears to be incapable of taking a consistent, strong stance. When they held their emergency anti-corruption meeting in May, the ICC resolved that no one who'd had any association with bookmaking could be on the cricket board of any member country. Sri Lanka then proceeded to elect as their president Mr Thalinga Sumatipala, a man whose family business has been bookmaking. Fortunately for him, the ICC is already backing off.
If a man's been whatever in the past, legitimately, well, that's you can't stop somebody from their past.
So if someone's been a bookmaker...
Hang on, now we're really just talking about that. If somebody...
No, we're not.
If somebody's committed murder and done the time, you can't just hold that against him for the rest of life if the judgment has been done.
But given the state of cricket at the moment, given the crisis that there is that's resulted from betting and the corruption that surrounds the bookmakers in cricket, it will now be okay for someone to have been a bookmaker and be the president of a cricket board as far as the ICC is concerned.
Liz, I've already told you, it is a complex issue.
But as the ICC prepares to face the press at the end of this year's annual general meeting, they know that they can no longer just duck the issue of corruption. The Hansi Cronje affair has finally forced the cricketing world to acknowledge that the problem is universal. It's only been days since 3 South Africans admitted to being on the take.
For a while it seemed it was only Pakistan that was involved. Now it seems as if India has been involved in it. There are some suggesting Sri Lanka is involved in it because they are now starting an inquiry. Australia involved in it and South Africa. So therefore, and then there were some English players who were casting allegations, you know. So therefore, it's clearly a universal problem. And that's how ICC should have dealt with it. Now they're trying to do it.
The ICC has brought along its new weapon against corruption, a retired police commissioner, an Oxford man. It's also day one in the job for the incoming ICC president, Malcolm Gray.
Pleasant duty, but I'm pleased to announce the appointment of the ICC Director of Anti-Corruption Unit in the person of Sir Paul Condon. Sir Paul Condon originally was an Oxford University man on a police scholarship, rising to become the Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police here in London.
I've only been asked in the last few days to become involved. I needed to be satisfied...
But Sir Paul will have no police powers.
No power to subpoena witnesses?
No.
No power to examine financial records?
Well, no. Well, it depends on what financial records you're talking about, in that we have a resolution that all boards around the world have to cooperate with at the ICC. And
but in terms of players, no power to, say, examine the financial...
Not their personal ones, no. And that's the same with anybody in the community.
Are you concerned that this will make it very difficult for this anti-corruption unit to actually uncover any corruption?
Well, it won't be easy.
While the new faces at the ICC acknowledge the size of the problem, some of the faces haven't changed. David Richards remains as the ICC's Chief Executive Officer, and he remains in denial.
During the last 7 years, corruption in the game has flourished. You've been the Chief Executive Officer of the ICC during that last 7 years. Do you think that you should take responsibility for any of that, and in view of that should stand down?
Let me say, what's been evident through that period of time, there's been a lot of allegations that have not been proven. It's only been in recent time where proper processes have been put in place by the boards concerned or the governments in certain countries where there have been the type of inquiries that have been necessary. And I think it's a matter of great regret for the sport that some of these allegations have been proven. But the vast number of allegations have been innuendo and they have not been proven.
But that's not really an answer to the question. When we were in the Indian subcontinent, a number of ex-players and ex-officials put it to us that in view of the way that corruption has flourished in the game while you've been the CEO of the ICC, that you should stand down.
Well, I reject that because A, it's not proven that corruption has flourished.
When I spoke to your Chief Executive Officer, David Richards, yesterday, he denied that in the last 7 years corruption in cricket had flourished. Is he the right person for the job?
Well, I didn't hear him say that, but all I can say is Blind Freddie can tell you that it's flourished in the last 7 years. There's no doubts about that.
The young enthusiasts for the game of cricket now combine that enthusiasm with doubt and cynicism. And for those who grew up in different times, that hurts.
I grew up adoring Sunil Gavaskar. 15-year-olds today adore Sachin Tendulkar. I got an email once saying, please tell me that Sachin Tendulkar is not involved, because if he is, what is left in life?
From my point of view, I hope it's going to be Judge's the era of a great Australian cricket side, but perhaps it won't be. It might be known as the bribery and match fixing years, much the same way Bodyline was, or World Series cricket, or the Rebel Tours.
The thing that makes me angry is that saying, it's not cricket, maybe it's an old-fashioned saying, is now no longer true, and that's awful.
Please, Austin! Yeah.